Welcome to Flat Earth Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they premiere. There's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto, and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of patrons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So, a massive shout of thanks and appreciation to Felis Mengus, Smith Tools and Purchase, Level Plain Poem, Vitali Z, Colton James, Effie Patriot, Thomas van der Zander, Measured Flat, Chris Wouters, Mere in the Shire, Mitch Kennedy, Rod, The Name's Burley, JMails24, Unimento, Iron26, Retro Bill, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Hairy Blade, Mobile Mac 777, Rob W, Del West Watson, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Texas Mike, Chow Yun Cat, David Wayne Foster, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Links to Patreon, as I say, are below this video. With that, I will hand across to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
Nice. What's up? What's been happening? Any news?
Brian's upset.
Oh, why? What's happened now?
Well, he sent me a message. I think he's upset about the way he's being portrayed. He said he's not a liar and he's not deceived. He's supposedly going to call me. But one thing that got me upset has nothing to do with that. A few months ago, pre-show, just like we're doing now, talking about the book, and then I mentioned how I can't wait for Brian's book to come out. Nathan immediately stops the show. I didn't know he stopped the show. He gets on with me personally and says, "What the hell are you doing? You're not supposed to say anything. Brian does not want that out there that he's writing a book." So I didn't know. I was like, holy shoot, I had no idea. So we go back live and that was said. And later on, I explained it to Brian that I slipped up. And Brian tells me, don't worry about it. It's no big deal. I wanted to keep it under the hat, but, what are you going to do? It's out there already. Okay, fine. So I think everything's cool. So yesterday in the message, he tells me, and by the way, I didn't want anybody to know my book was being written. I didn't mind if the panel knew, but I didn't want it out to the freaking public. Are you joking me? That's not going to go out to the public? What I discussed on Nathan's show 5 months ago? And the conversations we had after? And you saying don't worry about it? That's all recorded on the show, and now you're upset about it? Freaking bullshit. What I think is they're feeling the effects right now. They can say whatever they want. They're feeling the effects of their betrayal. Maybe not so much Brian, but Brian, I don't care how you slice it. He's lined up with Huey and Adam. Just when he said to me, how much of the book do you think Nathan has written? Tells me where you're at. All right, now they're feeling the effects. Like that girlfriend that you were in love with, you broke up with her. But then when you realize it's too late, she moved on. That's what they're feeling right now. Huey has nobody watching him literally at all. He could just be shouting into the wind. And Adam, you couldn't even remember his surname.
What's his surname, Jin?
Oh, yeah, I couldn't remember his name. Yeah, Brian. I thought it was Aitken.
Beautiful.
No, it's Adam Aitken. That's it, isn't it?
Beautiful, Jin.
Yeah,
you are
it,
beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm getting their surnames mixed up because I don't often hear their surnames. So don't be surprised.
What's my surname?
Gentlemen. Sorry?
What's my surname? Can you remember my surname?
Famous pair of goggles. Don't start starting me with this shit. Come on now, man.
No, I'm not like, say my name. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying, can you remember my surname by comparison?
I know your
it?
surname. Like I just said, a famous pair of eyewear, goggles, sports, very expensive.
My name is not Mr. Ray-Ban. What are you talking about?
Well, Oakley's, they're very expensive glasses. Nathan Oakley. Oakley's are very expensive glasses, if you didn't know. Sports glasses.
I'm just messing around.
That'd be your surname, wouldn't it? Nathan Oakley. That's your surname, isn't it? Oakley? Yeah? Am I wrong there?
Fair enough. It's just contrast and compare, that's all. Thank you very much for playing along. I appreciate it. Just for the humorous effect of it.
We're making a point, Jin, that you freaking can't remember their name, and it's only normal because who are they? But you know who Nathan Oakley is.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's Adam Aitken, and Brian's Logic is all I know. That's it. I don't know their real names, do I? Or their surnames.
Jin, you are beautiful. When I say that, I mean that.
Okay.
You are you are enhancing what we're saying. You don't realize it right now, but you are enhancing it to the point where you're proving our point. You got Brian's name right. That's perfect.
Yes, Mr. Logic.
Yeah, go on.
Mr. Logic. You got that right.
Yeah, Brian's Logic. Got that right, yeah.
But that's not even his real name.
No.
No, it is.
No.
That is actually his real name. Who cares? Right, Brian hasn't wronged me in some egregious way. He's just a flying monkey. Standard. If you're going to be a bitch, be the whole bitch, right? Don't say, I'm leaving the group. Okay. See you later. Don't let the door hit you on the back. What, you don't like how I'm talking about you? So you haven't left the group then? You pretended to leave the group, you little bitch. If you're going to be a bitch, be the whole bitch. Don't be part of the bitch, be the whole bitch, Brian. You want to leave? Fuck off. Leave. Yeah, don't come back whinging about, you've been talking about me, so you've been hanging around, have you little bitch? Yeah? Don't walk out, slam the door in a ceremonious, dramatic way, and then hang around to moan about how you're being referred to. You're being called a bitch, because that's what you are. Little bitch, little girl. That's what you're being. Now piss off, you little bitch.
He got caught up in the middle of it. Like I told him, though. I warned him about it. But I think he put himself there for a reason.
Just out of interest, did he answer you about how much of his book is about housekeeping? Questions? Did he answer you?
No,
I
he said
my name on the front cover of Brian's book if it's about housekeeping. By Nathan Oakley first. And maybe in smaller typeface, Brian's Logic, or whatever the fuck his unforgettable name is. Yeah, my name will be at the top of your book, Brian, if it's about housekeeping. It's copyright. Nathan Oakley. Yeah? How much of your book did you really write, Brian? Any of it? Was it about housekeeping, I heard you say? That's mine. Copyright Nathan Oakley. Is it plagiarised from me, Brian? You better put my fucking name at the top of your book, Brian, if it's about housekeeping. Yeah? I want 90%. Minimum.
Yeah, he made a bad decision. And Adam, I think you're prophesying his name there, Jin, because he is aching right now.
For the audience's benefit, I'm joking, right? What I'm doing is contrasting what's happened to me with Brian so he can have a little taste of how it feels. I mean, I might be joking. You never know with me, do you?
I don't.
You never know.
It's like, as you're saying, I'm cringing. I'm like, oh, God, now I'm going to get more messages.
What's he doing? I thought I read a quote. Brian left the group. Did I read incorrectly? Am I not understanding? I get people telling me I don't understand next. What part of Brian left the group? Didn't I understand? Oh, I'm confused. He's not left the group. He's being a little bitch. Yeah, don't slam the door like a little girl, Brian, and then come back moaning about how you're being referred to. Like a flying monkey. That's how. Anyway, I wasn't joking. I do actually want an answer. How much of his book's about my show and what I do? Because that is genuinely copyright mine. Like, when I say those things, people think I'm joking. When I say that's copyright, that is Nathan Oakley 1980. Because it's been broadcast on my show. So you better not use it for your own financial benefit. I'm here to make a living. So when I say those things, I absolutely mean them. People are going to get a taste of my wrath. They're going to find out how fucked they really are if they test me. You understand? Maybe they don't understand. Maybe they thought it was all a joke when I was like, yeah, I'm always recording. And when I say that's copyright, as in I own it, maybe I'm just joking. It just seems humorous the way I slip it in. Yeah, I'm not joking. What's mine is mine. This is mine. This is what I do for a living. These people, these amateurs, don't seem to understand that. I trained in this. They think they can toddle along and decide, well, I want a chunk of it. No, you get to taste my fucking piss as I piss in your face. That's what I will do. Yeah, it's not a joke. This is my career, my living. I take it seriously. Now, when I say it in jest with a little grin, a little wry smile on my face, that's copyright, that is. Yeah, it is. It's going out on my channel. Owned by me, you bunch of dicks. Amateur idiots. Yeah, I'm messing with the drama queen himself here. That's me. I trained in this stuff, you bunch of buffoons. You want to turn around and talk about what's copywritten? I understand this shit. You are a bunch of clowns. Excluded from your own stupid groups that you say you're walking away from. I left the group. Yeah, you'll know about it when you leave, because I'll have my foot in your ass when you do.
Maybe that's what they're feeling.
My foot in their ass. Yeah, you bet your ass they're feeling my foot in their ass. That's how it feels to have someone else's foot in your ass. All right, is Quantum Eraser not getting a very good audience now? He's been excluded from the Quantum Eraser YouTube group that I created and kicked him out of. They don't like being described as being sacked when I took all the keys off every door and then put my foot up their ass. Yeah, you can be betting that they're going to be feeling their absolute betrayal right about now. Yeah. How do my balls taste, lads? Yeah, people don't like hearing it because it's got meaning. It's a metaphor. It's what somebody does when they get shot in the face in a video game, and then the person who shot them toddles over to their rotting corpse and dangles their testicles in the game into that dying corpse's mouth. That's what it means. Yeah? When I say how do they taste. Now, I don't normally find myself asking people like Quantum Eraser and the Adam Jerkin what my balls taste like. Now, Brian's getting dangerously close to being asked the same question, isn't he?
I think they're playing. They got one card. I think they were holding on to that card, and that's the card that you're fickle. But some things you know you just don't forget.
I am very fickle. They came back. Oh, we're really sorry, Nathan. I'd be like, oh dear, I'll ruffle your head. Go on your way, you thieving little cunt. Go on. Go and play. I am fickle. Very.
No, that's the card they're holding on to.
Yeah, man.
I'm guessing at it.
I'm talking about going to David Weiss to try and have another puppet trying to teach him the scientific method. See if I can actually get him off his script slightly. Get him doing better. Do you think I'd be saying that if I weren't fickle? I am.
Yeah, but sir, I understand you're fickle, but you can't forget. There's certain things that are done that, not easily forgotten.
Really? I mean, I don't forget, Neil. Being fickle doesn't mean you've got a short memory. Those two things are assumed to be mutually inclusive, but they're not necessarily. Being fickle and having a very strong and long memory. Yeah, I mean, partly why I can be fickle. Because, did they get the better of me, Neil? No, they didn't, did they? So I can afford to be fickle, because I cover my own ass.
Yeah, but I could never look at them the same. I could never be yeah, I was betrayed. Like I said, when I was betrayed, the kid came back groveling, and I understood, and he was fully repentant, and I understood why. The kid had to fend for himself from probably as a toddler, so I understood why he did what he did, and I did forgive him, but I had to keep an eye, because how can I trust you anymore?
Should have put an extra set of suspension wires on this microphone, do you reckon? You can't see. You don't care. I'm just looking at it going, it's got these suspension wires and it kind of sags a little bit because it's a really heavy mic. It's almost a kilo. I think it's like 800 grams or something. So it's sagging in the shock mount that I've got it. I've gone through 3 shock mounts for this one microphone. You can tell I like it. Spending money on it. Got this shock mount that I accidentally broke the arm on, trying to bend it around the pop filter. Then I got another shock mount. This one that I've broken because it couldn't take the weight. And I've got this third one, which I do really like. And I don't know, it's silver, which I thought would go terribly because it's an odd coloured mic. It's like an olive green, I guess. I don't know what colour it is. I'm colourblind, but I'm guessing it's green. People have said on videos that it's green. A sort of greeny silver.
How do you guess green if you're colorblind? How are you guessing green?
Normally because of other external information that people give me. So if somebody says something's a certain colour, then I see it that colour. Well, carpet's generally cream, right? For the majority of my time in this apartment, I thought I had a cream carpet. One day, I started dating this Swiss girl, and she came in and she's like, "Oh, you have this pink carpet." I was like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "This carpet is pink." I'm like, "No, it's not. It's cream." She's like, "No." I was like, "What do you mean it's pink?" She's like, "It's pink." I can't do the accent anymore. Swiss German accent. But she was like the first person to tell me that my own carpet was pink. So suddenly I'm looking at it going, I need to get a new carpet. I don't want a pink carpet because I didn't realise. I just thought it was cream. So you just don't mention it. The amount of people that must have come through my apartment and gone, pink. The amount of girls I brought back that have just gone, pink carpet, what's all that about? You know what I mean? Maybe I'd have been married to a different girl if I hadn't got so badly colourblind. But yeah, from that day, I still didn't actually with the carpet. That's not true. After she said it, I still saw it as cream because it to me was. I never saw that carpet as pink. I occasionally look at this carpet, forget that it's the new carpet, and think, is this pink? No, it isn't.
Well, if you want to get on flat Earth stuff, I paddled over to Earth Awakenings, and there was a guy on there, Baller. His name is Flat Earthers Are Funny. Kind of name is that? And he's talking about how he goes to a mountain at a certain elevation. Nobody stops him. And he shoots a nail in a certain direction, right? It takes the curvature of the Earth in account. It's like nobody's stopping this guy. It's like, what's going on here? How's he getting his elevation if he's on a globe? Elevation in reference to what? Like, people ain't getting it.
Well, no, you're not saying it. You're falling into the Robin Poe mistake. What does he get his elevation for? Don't allow me to have to ask it. Just fully explain it. That's what being concise means. So you say...
He's getting his elevation from... He has to get it from a flat plane of reference. That's where you get your elevation from. Where are you going to get it from? You can't get it off a curve because you're not going to have... I mean, what are you going to have it on one point?
I actually thought you were fishing for something else, although I'm glad you've now done that. But ballistic trajectory is another, obviously, prerequisite for a flat Earth measurement process. It's just not something we've ever talked about. Typically, when we're talking about ballistics, we're talking about not actual deflection of a bullet that we don't observe. So it's a double negative in Coriolis effect when you're talking about ballistic trajectory. But in reality, it's just another flat Earth prerequisite because it's going to use horizontal distance, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I wasn't even thinking of that one. I was just thinking of how he got his curvature measurement by shooting a nail to a certain distance and then taking that measurement.
Yeah, that's ballistic trajectory, though, isn't it? By shooting a nail, you mean with a nail gun, right? He's firing out a nail.
Yeah.
Yeah, that falls under... I just hear measurement and Earth in the same breath and know, without even giving it a second brain cell of thought, that's going to require a flat Earth. So when you start talking about firing out a nail, yes, you're already all over you need the elevation measurement from a flat plane of reference to begin with. But once you're out there, you're then doing something else that you're going to start affirming that you've got the proof of something to do with a globe Earth he believes in with the basis of firing out a nail from a nail gun. You're like, I just hear flat Earth measurements coming right up. That's all I hear. Speaking of which, right, there's one deck around, because what I'd like one deck to do, this is actually not my idea, this was Craig's idea from Click OK, bottom left. He was saying, why don't you just allow the panel to react to the videos that they want to cover that you get really frustrated with? Just wind them up and let them go. As in, I'm paraphrasing, but those aren't his exact words. But in essence, put Dave McKeegan's video in front of one deck because one deck wants to cover it, and then just sit back. As in, what's the word? I'm going to say relieve the pressure, but it's not that I'm relieving any pressure. It's just I'm not interjecting as much as I necessarily might if you want to react to the video that I've said I want to stop covering. I'd rather cover the map guy. He's just a normie talking about using maps, and he's such a happy guy. Now, I've got annoyed with him because in his cognitive dissonant way, he's come along and Nathan doesn't understand. You're like, yeah, after 10 years, that's going to piss me off a little bit. I'll be honest. Yeah, I'm only human. But he's a nice guy. He seemed like a genuinely, legitimately nice guy. When I say he's sniffing his own farts, I don't mean that in a derogatory way as much as it sounds it. I mean, he's smug, but that's not a bad thing. He's like happy in what he does. He's talking about his maps and he's happy about it, right? Good for him. I'm smug. I love what I do. It's ace.
Yeah, but how would he have been different if he knew that flat earthers are listening and now he's got to explain how he does surveying?
He'll be less smug. Yeah, it'll be less smug because now it's cognitively expensive. That's my plan, right? So for the audience's benefit, what am I talking about when I say there's a plan? Well, everything we do is foisted upon us from a heliocentric perspective that we don't have to defend. And it was, for me, for 10 years, cognitively expensive. You're racking your brains, you're having to do research, you're figuring it all out about the ball, its history, its mathematics. You go, that was expensive cognitively. Well, I don't want that. So how do you offload your cognitive expense on someone else? Well, they're the ones that want to come away from, or keep on, depending on if you're an anti-glober or an anti-flatty, the ball. Have it. But you can do the cognitive expensive bit. In this case, the normie map maker guy can be told by a group of dissonant fellow globe believers that he needs to do X, Y, and Z and cannot use things from list A, B, and C because those aren't words you're not allowed to use if you're going to talk about flat Earth, and you've got to use these words and disclaim these things. Suddenly he's not going to be sniffing his farts so much. He's not going to seem so smug and happy about what he's doing. It all becomes very cognitively expensive. Well, your problem, not mine. Earth's just measured flat, like the guy was happy to disclaim with a big smile. Num, 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 num. While he's talking about how flat he measures it. No disclaimers needed when you're a normie. Me, I get the most brutal abuse societally. Well, he doesn't. He's talking about the same thing as me now, isn't he? I don't need to apologise for a ball. I can all be left in my past. I understand it. I don't need it. It was all just filling up space in my head. Unnecessary. I'd already got it from birth anyway. Just not to the extent that I was told I needed to process it. As a flat earther, I wasn't. I was an anti-glober, being trained in how the globe doesn't work so that my opponents could tell me how it does. And then we're all talking about the globe and nothing else, aren't we? Not anymore. Now it's much more cognitively cheap. Just no Earth's measured flat. And hearing a nail gun go out, you go, well, that's going to be calculated with a horizontal distance, isn't it? And, oh, well, there isn't. Oh, well, you'll need to calculate the drop of the mountain with respect to horizontal also. Everything about this calculation will require Earth be measured flat. Knowing that fact just means that when someone like Neil brings up a nail gun on a mountain, he's fighting to find the annoyance that he's found within the elevation from surface level the mountain's been measured with of a flat Earth. And I'm there going, this just sounds like a new measurement that we've never talked about before. It's going to need a flat Earth for it. I didn't even have to think about it. Yeah, much easier than, well, back in Copernicus's day when you've got these elevation angles being measured and deriving radial values and orbital motion, Kepler and Huygens and sod all that. It's all just a waste of cognitive space. Did a bit
Neil,
more book today.
just wanted to ask.
Good.
When he fired that nail gun, Neil, was he on a course or in a place where people don't frequent? Because that's a bit of a dangerous thing to do, I would have to say, firing nail guns.
I don't know.
There's some stupid stories sometimes.
He didn't do that at all.
Yeah, that's right. I mean,
I was
why would
gonna
you be firing a
say,
nail gun?
It
looked
sounds
into it,
stupid.
yeah.
Like, you got to climb a mountain and then fire a nail gun to prove.
Well, all those corpses
Sure.
on Everest didn't come from nowhere. You know, there's got to have been a cause, and sounds like we found it.
The whole thing just sounds made up.
I think it was probably a hypothetical example. I'm just guessing.
Yeah, that makes sense. Could be.
Go again with the hypotheticals.
Yeah,
On a
we don't need them.
globe, this is what would happen. How do you know? You never on a globe. You
200
never been on
degrees
a
if it
globe.
was roasting. The big roast chicken. Just got to start begging the question of what should happen and when we're assuming Earth's a big giant roast chicken. That's how it should be, Neil. It's the right thing to do. Well, if Earth was a giant roast chicken, we'd be at 200 degrees, wouldn't we? Let's be honest. We're not at 200 degrees. Therefore, we're not on a giant roast chicken. What's that? You just wanted to know how grey the grass was or how pink my carpet was. Wrote a bit more book today. My anecdotes.
Come on, give us some. I know you want to.
Well, it's not. It's just because, as I've been saying to you, I excluded to add the anecdotal information from all 5 of the first 5 drafts. Now my wife's gathering that from the scraps of transcription. I'm now forming more for the 6th draft. No, it'll be the 7th once this gets incorporated into what my wife's doing. Strictly speaking, what my wife's working on is the 6th draft. But when I incorporate all of the stuff I'm writing presently, that would make the 7th draft, which will hopefully be the book that actually gets released. So today I wrote about Bob and Jaron, specifically about my experiences with both of them. Just see if I can find a good bit. Using a faulty fibre optic gyroscope, which nobody actually got to see, Bob was caught on a hot mic stating that gyro's functionality was undermining the flat Earth position of disproving Earth spin by having a drift. This drift, nobody got to see, would undermine the very principle of gyro motion, remaining rigid in space, aka not drifting, by showing, according to Bob, a drift. This being exposed to an audience in a way that made it seem that Bob had this claim to be terrible revelation under wraps. But then, oh no, Bob accidentally tells the world this fundamental incongruity with known facts about how gyros work during a Netflix show called Behind the Curve, where we, the audience of the show, were led to believe that Bob simply forgot the omnidirectional lav mic wrapped around him and the wireless body pack crammed up his ass by a sound technician who'd be checking the batteries regularly. Alas, Bob let the total nonsense, or claim that he was using a broken gyro, out to the cast and crew like a cliffhanger delivered on a soap opera.
Nice. That's historical.
I got away with words, you can't deny it.
Yeah, very, very descriptive there. Yes.
Yes, I know, I'm basically it. How much of that did I write, I asked myself.
It was laid down for you, that's why.
Yeah, the other chapter is about Jaron. Let's see if there's anything juicy I can read out from this. Oh, my PC's turned off. What's that all about? Okay, no, it's still alive. Big black screen for a second. That's slightly unnerving. No, I don't think I will read any of this. It's too short a chapter. I'll just end up reading all of it by accident. Anyway, my wife hasn't given me any notes of people to anecdotally talk about, so when I got to today's lesson, even though she's been transcribing it every other day or every day, she hasn't said, oh, why don't you talk about Spurs chemo? Now, in this instance, I think it's because there were or was a certain amount of anecdotal information that was in the transcriptions that she's making. That is to say, I was actually talking about transcription, talking about Spurs chemo in her transcription. Bring a sentence together. So, in other words, there already was the anecdotal information of chainsaw wielding, by metaphor, Spurs chemo in the bits that she's transcribing. So there's no need for me to go away and write about Spurs chemo.
Is Spurs still around?
I know, I like most flat earthers, assume that if they stop making YouTube videos that they're dead.
No, I mean in the flat Earth arena. Is he still
Yeah, I'm sure he is.
out?
He's still a flat earther. I could say that about anybody, but yes.
Well, what was your independent variable then?
The flat plane, the surface that we take an angle from. That's my independent variable right there. To be an independent variable, you've got to be capable of variation and manipulation. You've got to be the IV in the hypothesis. You've got to be real. So you've got to be the presumed cause of the effect that you're actually going to physically vary and manipulate as a researcher. And that which you physically vary and manipulate as a researcher has to be something that physically exists. So no varying concepts of space-time bending. That's not an independent variable. It's got to be real.
So height is not an independent variable?
No, it's a concept. The amount of vitamin C in your body, you can vary that. The amount of heat applied to water, you can vary that. That's an independent variable. Saying, like, depth. What do you mean? Depth. An aspect in a geometry, a dimension, if you will. You want to vary a dimension. Talking to numpties too long, Neil. That's the problem.
So height, distance, time, these are all things that cannot be varied and manipulated. So
Vary
therefore,
time, vary depth for me. No, not how deep something is within a Cartesian grid. Vary depth. The thing that you said is the dependent variable will be written down as the independent variable in your scientific prediction, otherwise known as hypothesis, as your if and then statement in the affirmative as a causal influencer. What's the if depth, then stars turning? No, that's stupid. That's a concept. It's not capable of variation and manipulation by you, the researcher, as a concept of depth. How deep something is within something else, measured within a grid, that's something very different entirely. What you are doing with that thing would be the independent variable, whatever it may be, as described within a Cartesian system. That doesn't necessarily make the Cartesian concept of depth, length, or height, or breadth, or whichever you want to label them as, anything that you can vary and manipulate. The same goes for time. If you're going to assert that it's a fourth dimension, it's not.
oh, it's just going to go to time. What do you mean? I could use time.
Okay, show me time. Give me 5 bags of it, and then vary them. Go.
Nathan, stop it. At 5 o'clock, I can notice something happening in the sky. It's different at, say, 12 hours later at 5 a.m. in the morning. Boom.
What about a time, sand clock? What are called those with the grain of sand that's in there? That's an amount of time measured out.
If you want to take it to a philosophical point of view, you can say that the arrow of time influences all. That's what your statement is commanding as a response, Neil. The arrow of time elapses without fail. It's unwavering. And with time, all things will, decay in the old school sense of entropy? Yes, they will. How profound. But that's like saying time causes everything, Neil. It's a concept. It's how we describe how we flow through existence. The arrow of time is the other name of entropy. But again, the description of things moving from a concentrated to a dispersed state as an example of entropy, is that time? No. It's described in that conceptual description of entropic dispersion. It's capable of quantification on a graph, but it isn't a causal influencer capable of being varied and manipulated by you, a researcher. Where's one deck? If we're going to be playing a video, I want to play it and have one deck, or whoever it is that's come up with the anti-flurf video for that day, they can be the one to respond to it. So if you're going to bring a video along, be prepared to actually respond to it as well. So normally when I'm like, have you even watched this? When someone's like, no, it's like, well, it's definitely not a game playing then, because you don't know what's coming, and it's like a bad act if it's you responding on the spot when we might spend 30 minutes going through a whole load of waffly nothing that doesn't relate to the show. So the rule will be, if you've watched the video, fine, I'll entertain you being the one to react to it. I'll pause at relevant points that you tell me to, and you can be the one to react to it. I'll sit back if it's a anti-flatty video. If it's a normie, I obviously want to get stuck right in. Oh, that's what I want to cover. I want to cover normies talking about measuring Earth, like that guy talking about trig points. Perfect. It's just some dude talking about what he does and how normal it is to measure Earth flat when you're not thinking about how you need to be defending against wankers that tell you need to put this disclaimer in so that other people can find it cognitively easy to find their way back to a ball that they're not standing on. Because you're measuring it flat, right? You need to put these disclaimers in. A1 deck, perfect timing.
All right, Nathan.
If you want to cover Dave McKeegan's video, we can. But I'll be sitting back to a certain degree while you're reacting to it. How about that?
Dave McKeegan.
Yeah,
Dave McKeegan.
You've mentioned him at least half a dozen times in the last week since I said, well, let's not cover the anti-flatties. But you specifically keep mentioning how he's using flat planes. They're right on screen. I can't remember any of the other quotes. Those just the last couple.
Oh yeah, I mean, no, it doesn't mean it. No, I know how you feel about doing them. I'm not sort of suggesting we do that. I'm just highlighting what he's on about. I do think we should maybe stick to what we was doing with the surveying ones and all that. Really.
Yeah.
I know it winds you up. It winds me
well,
up.
It does.
Yeah,
what I'm saying is, should that come up, maybe it's not with you in this example, but you're the example in this particular instance. I'm saying if you wanted to, or suggested, well, this video's come up, Simon Dan said X today. Like, okay, let's play it, but only if A, you've watched it, which obviously in this case you have, and B, you'll be the one to react to it. As in, I'll sit back, I'll pause it when relevant bits need pausing, and if I'm asked something, I'll obviously answer. But for the most part, it'll be you and the panel that react to the video when it's an anti-flatty.
With you. So if someone suggests a video of that type, really, you'll be sitting back, pausing, maybe not getting as much involved, and letting the person who's suggested the video sort of point out the nonsense.
Precisely.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, that's fine. But yeah, I mean, like I say, I wasn't doing it for that. I mean, I might do that at some point, Nathan. But like I say, I was just, and I didn't watch the full video. I just watch, and I try not to watch them like you don't, because it is just a wind up. But it is good to just see what nonsense they're coming out with, and that particular one with the elevation profile, and explaining to everyone that, you know, it's only horizontal because it's easier. I just laugh at it now, and I just mention it to you guys just to keep you in the loop, because I know you don't watch them. So just to remind you how much of an idiot it's still being.
I posted one about flight, a professional pilot flying, explaining how it works.
Have you watched it?
No.
Oh my God.
Well, I want to be just as surprised as you.
No. You need to have watched it first.
Yeah, it's good to at least watch it, browse over it, because then you can get some points where you think, God, yeah, that's highlighting that, and then you can say something about, gives you a little bit of, puts you in the right place a little bit.
The problem with it is,
Hold
if you've
on.
not
We
watched
know
it,
what he's going to be saying.
no, I don't.
Come
That's the
on.
point. If you don't know what he's going to be saying, and he waffles on about the check-in system for the hotels that the airport's now connected to digitally with the aircraft, and it's an amazing system. It's been provided by Cisco Systems, and Cisco Systems has been around since I've got to respond to all this if it's being played out. Otherwise, I get the potential of copyright strikes. So I have to respond to it and react to it, while you sit and just go, "Oh well, we'll just play it." No, we can't just play stuff on my channel.
It's like when I did
past
that.
It.
When I did that pilot one, I think I sent that you direct, Nathan, but I just put some bullets on for you, didn't I, saying he mentions level, staying in level flight, he's referencing the horizon. So that was the sort of gist of what he was talking about on that particular one.
Yeah, but what I mean is when we're playing it, I can ask you, if you've watched it at least once, I can say, does he waffle on for a bit about this Cisco Systems for a while? And you're like, yeah, just for a couple of minutes. And I go, great. And then I can scrub through 2 minutes that I don't have to react to. But only if you've watched it. If you don't know what's coming, you're like, oh, well, we better play it all the way through. It's like, well, it's 15 minutes. If I'm responding to every 10, 15 seconds of it, this will take up the entire hour show. And if I'm just sat here because you don't know what's coming, then what's going to happen? Well, we'll just sat with someone else's video playing on my channel, live. It's not that. Other people do it. I mean, like I say, as long as you're on camera, there's a lot you can get away with. I could just shrink down a version of me and stick me in the corner, and then I could just sit and watch the entire thing, I guess.
Have you got anything to cover today then, or what we're doing?
Nothing. I've got nothing to cover. I'm half asleep, to be honest. So busy, I've hardly slept. But we'll start in 5 minutes, and then we'll just see how it goes. I don't know. I haven't got anything specifically to cover.
We did have that. Did you do that old celestial navigation one?
Is it in Master B?
I might have sent it you direct, so it could be in. Have a look.
Let's have a look.
I think I sent you two. There's the old one which you've watched before. It's just going on about. It's just the guy's briefly going over it. He's not. He's admitting he's not. He's never navigated, obviously, but you've seen it. I think it's just an old style one.
Oh yes, with the triangles on it. I do remember you sending it me now.
Yeah, but there was another one which it's not that long. It's more of a guy with a diagram of a boat and getting an elevation angle of a mountain. But the reason I like that one a little bit is because in the first, say, 30 seconds, he's describing it describes the using the sea level as the horizontal baseline, and I like that because when I've had conversations with ballers about celestial navigation, particularly using the sea sextant, I will point out that you are using they say you're not using the surface of the earth, obviously, but I point out the sea level is the baseline. It most definitely is, and they will not have that. They can't handle that. But that cartoon little one I sent over to you, the guy explaining how to get the elevation angles to the mountain or the cliff, does specifically say we will be using sea level for the horizontal. So I just thought that was good.
Yeah, it's good that you put that one forward, because when you say to people that the Earth is measured flat and sea level is your massive clue, it's level, and then you got this guy saying that backs up what we're saying. I don't know why these people don't understand that. Water is always level. You knew this when you were a baby growing up. You see level water.
Is it this?
I mean, why can't they go back? What's the matter with these people? I don't understand how they disconnect from that reality and that actuality. I don't get it.
Is it this one?
No. I'll just go. I'm not sure. I'll just go and have a quick look and I'll put it in Master B.
It's the second one that you've shared. The one before was the one with the like hand-drawn triangles in the thumbnail. This is the second one.
Hi there.
Hello.
Hello.
Good afternoon. It's good to be here. It's been emotional. It's been an emotional pre-show. It hasn't really. We're just having a laugh, talking about how flat Earth is and how there's no necessity for you to get into debates about the ball anymore. Let them expend their cognitive expense on the ball and the disclaimers, as we were discussing that map making guy. Again, because the map making guy has now put himself into a position where he's going to have to disclaim all of the ball related nonsense that goes along with your flat earth measurements by disclaimer, and smugness doesn't necessarily follow when you're having to disclaim through cognitive expense how ball shaped the world isn't that you're measuring flat. But we've got another one. We're going to cover this particular video today, which is by vividmaths.com. This has been suggested by Wandek. Hopefully he'll get involved. You there, Wandek? Disappeared. Either way, I was hoping that he was going to do some response to it. Is he not here? There he is. Hey, Wandek.
Hi, Nathan. Yeah, just had a call coming in.
No worries. Hopefully we'll get some reactions from the panel in this regard. So when it's an anti-flat earth video, I've asked that the panel step in more than I. We'll see how it goes.
Black Friday is back. Discover thousands of deals, like sofas from £249 and dining tables from £139. Don't miss out. Shop from the 20th of November.
It just...
Wrong video, sorry.
Practical example with angles. The angle is right here. We have this lady named Jackie, and she's in this boat and she's gone sailing, and it's a beautiful Sunday afternoon, and she's lapping it up and basking in the sun. And she notices this cliff way out here.
Does she know? Okay, let's just do the little sharey bit. So this is Vivid Maths. That's the name of the channel. And I'd like you to let him know if you are in the live stream chat. Let's just pop out my chat. For some reason it's not popped out yet. There we go. Let him know if you're in my live stream chat. At Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a polite comment that doesn't immediately get removed by the YouTube algorithmic bots, or indeed by Vivid Maths himself. So try and keep it polite and just allude to the fact that we're helping him along in the YouTube algorithm where we don't get any help. And yeah, just point him in the right direction of this channel to let him know that we've covered him. I need to change this chat in here, don't I? Let's just do that first. There we go. Okay, so there's the link. Please let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a polite comment, like I say, that doesn't immediately get removed. There is, how many people watching? Over 20 people watching. I know we've literally only just started, but if you are amongst the 20 people, 22 people and rising in the live stream chat for Nathan Oakley 1980, please do pop along to the video. You can open your chat box if you're on your phone, click on it, obviously come back, but let him know we've covered his video with a polite comment below his video. And I'm sure he'll be very grateful at getting the interaction from you. I'm sure everybody who's in YouTube likes getting interaction from new members, new subscribers, new people who just come along to see your video at the behest of me asking. So please do actually do this if you are in the live stream. Pop along to Vivid Maths, let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. Be polite, be rude, don't be rude. Don't let the YouTube algorithm bites. Beg buds bite.
500 meters out from where she is. So she gets her little protractor out and actually measures the angle of elevation. Now, what's the angle of elevation? It's from the horizontal, or the mean sea level, upwards to the target.
Mean sea level. I have this conversation with some ballers sometimes when I know that isn't celestial navigation, but in celestial navigation, you will be using the mean sea level for the baseline. And every time I bring this up to a baller, they'll say, well, it's got nothing to do with the surface of Earth. You're not using the surface of Earth when navigating the surface of Earth. And I try and explain in detail that you are using, it's got a horizon mirror. You're bringing the sun down to the horizon, which is the GP, which will be one point of the horizontal line. The other point on the horizontal line will be you, the observer, as GP. And that is what that guy is just... Give us a J on that, Nathan, because I'm sure he's explaining you do use sea level for the elevation angle. You can see clearly that you do.
And she notices this cliff way out here, 500 meters out from where she is. So she gets a little protractor out and actually measures the angle of elevation. Now, what's the angle of elevation? It's from the horizontal or the mean sea level upwards to the target of your measurement, which
Yes.
Horizontal mean sea level. I mean, do we have to say that? How many times do we have to say that? Horizontal mean sea level being used to obtain an elevation angle when out at sea. Not curved.
What else we got on here? There's another number there. Can you see it?
Height.
Well, that's another one that we'll get to as well. We might as well cover that. So H. Yeah, what's that got to do with flat Earth?
Well, I mean, your height will be the altitude above sea level.
Yeah, it's going to be perpendicular to the plane of reference. So when you're using trig, you're using right angle triangles. So it's perpendicular to this. What's this other value? Can you see this?
Yeah, that's a distance. It's in meters, and it's a distance, which is a linear horizontal measurement, which he's just explained. It's horizontal, and he's proving that the measurements on it, it's a horizontal measurement.
It's kind of like we've got a couple of options, and either this is a horizontal linear measurement of distance for it to function with this process, ipso facto meaning that Earth is and can only be measured flat, or it isn't. In which case, this all falls apart and this is pointless and this man's video is wrong. Either Earth's flat, like it's being measured, or the measurement fails.
Yep. I mean, it's just in plain sight there, isn't it? He's explained. We can see it. We all know what's happening there. We can see everything clearly. What it is, triangulation, horizontal. You've got your linear heights, like you say, your linear distances across the horizontal mean sea level. I mean, it's as broad as daylight.
which in this case is the top of the cliff. So she's aiming right there to right on the edge, right on the apex of that cliff. So she measured 32 degrees, 15 minutes. So the good news about trigonometry is this tool allows you to measure heights of objects, whether it be buildings, cliffs, hills, mountains, easily without having to actually physically measure it. All you need to know is how far out you are and the angle of elevation. That's all you need. Isn't that terrific? Well, let's...
So as a prerequisite, we'll need how far out we are horizontally and straight then. Or the trig fails. I mean, it's the rock and hard place. Either you've accepted that Earth's flat for the 500 meters, horizontal linear distance, or it isn't. I mean, I don't care either way. Earth is just measured flat. It's like not like it's contestable. I mean, maybe we could put it on a little list of things we shouldn't say.
I mean, he's doing trig. For one, if that horizontal mean sea level baseline was curved, was a curval, you wouldn't be doing trig, and you wouldn't be obtaining the elevation angle. So, like you say, you wouldn't have anything. You wouldn't be able to do this. It wouldn't work. It has to be horizontal, yeah, for the elevation angle in order to do this trigonometry. That's how it works. Simple.
Let's do that now. Let's work out the height or h of this cliff. So what are the steps? Well, first of all, what we need to do is determine what ratio is it. So for example, sine, cos, or tan. Then we plunk it into the trig ratio and we put in the 500, we put in the 32 degrees 15, and we can come up with the height of the cliff. Now, the good news is we don't need to give it in centimeters or millimeters. They only want it in the nearest meter. So let's do that. We're going to round it up to the nearest meter. So let's decide where that angle is going to. So I'm looking at this, and Jackie's in the boat, and it's a bit bumpy here, and she's kind of got the protractor there, and it's 32 degrees 15 she measures, and she looks directly in front of her, and that clearly is what? It's the opposite, yeah?
So we're definitely not dealing with curve angles then. detailing a bog standard right angle triangle then.
I mean, I know he is measuring an elevation angle. We've just been through everything that's happening and what he's utilising. This isn't celestial navigation. Some people get, if you've got that cliff, you can work this out. You can't do this with celestial navigation. It doesn't work like that with the lights in the sky, does it, Nathan? You can't get the height. This is the other thing you get. Well, what's the height of the star? We're not interested in the height of the star when doing celestial navigation. So I've just brought that up because this does get thrown into the conversation sometimes.
Isn't it?
To try and just...
You're reading my mind. I was just going to ask you about that one day.
Is celestial navigation not the same as celestial star height measuring? We want to travel to them, don't we? Isn't that why we're doing it? Don't we want to travel to the lights? Is that not what we're trying to do?
Yeah, well, we need to know the height to find our location on Earth. I mean, if we didn't know the height,
location on Earth. What's that got to do with the height of them? Do you need the height? Oh no, you don't. You'd need to find your location if you're going to get lost and die at sea. You're not trying to get to the star, though. You're just using the star to find your location on the ground, right? Why are they asking about the height? Do they not understand the process and what you're trying to achieve with it?
Probably not, no.
Answers on a postcard. Why are people asking about the height when doing celestial navigation? I mean, at no point when people have got a map in front of them are they asking for the height of the sun. They just need to know how to get to the Old Kent Road. That's a location on the ground. No one's worried about how high the lights are. The lights are above certain places on the ground, though, and you can figure that out by getting a fix by using elevation angles to the lights. But you're not trying to figure out the light's height. That's idiotic. You're trying to find your way along the ground. Oh, looks like there's someone at my door. Just back in a second. Hopefully someone will hold the fort.
They use that one deck. They use that as like a sort of a gotcha, which makes no sense to me. Because you're right, we're navigating the Earth, not the skies. The stars are just used so we can get our fix.
Yeah, they just like to throw a spanner into your chain of thought, so that they try and knock you off your chain of thought. But it never works because you just say, that was just said. We're not measuring to go to the stars because we can't go there. It's for an elevation angle only. What the hell are you talking about?
And
they're Captain Kirk or something.
Geometry.
Sorry.
Let's just say they think they're Captain Kirk or something, travelling to the stars. Are you nuts? We're using this process to find our way along the bloody ground, not along the stars. We're not making a captain's log, travelling to different star systems. That's not what's going on with celestial navigation. They got the idea wrong because the word celestial's in it, I think.
You can do it with this. You can triangulate with this method using the cliff. The lights in the sky, we don't know how they work or what they are, but we know we can use them to get elevation angles in celestial navigation using the sea sextant, using mean horizontal sea level for the baseline for your elevation angle, and you can pinpoint your position with 2 or 3 fixes, the circle of equal altitudes. You can find about where you are roughly. Yeah, but you can't do that. This with the lights in the sky. What is it, that one, Neil? With the isn't the elevation angle the same no matter how high you are when taking readings from the stars?
Yeah, because they don't obey our geometry on Earth. They're different. The stars are different.
Anyway,
just thought I'd bring that up.
It's used to our advantage. So the fact that you can go to any elevation, you can make this observation of this star and take an angle to it and then follow the whole process through to find your fix and figure out where you are so you can then navigate your way home. Well, if you do that and you're in a plane, the angle still works exactly the same. It's the same angle. So therefore, as you raise in altitude, 20,000 feet, let's say, and then make the same measurement, does that mean that you've got 20,000 feet closer to the star? Well, obviously not, because the angles stay exactly the same. Unlike this, if you raise 20,000 feet above this cliff, it would no longer be in an elevation angle. You'd be measuring a depression angle because it'd be below you. Eventually, you reach it and then breach it, and then you're making a depression angle if you carry on measuring it. That's what happens when you raise up in altitude when doing this process to measure the height of a cliff versus the elevation angle measurement to acquire your fix in navigation.
Correct.
And the other measurement is the 500 meters, how far out she is from the base.
Is that straight and flat? Do I need to say that's completely redundant for my audience's benefit, saying this 500 meters is straight and flat? It's just a fact. If it isn't, it's no longer going to be the process he's described with his cosines, is it? It must be flat. That's how Earth is measured.
He confirmed it earlier in his statement when he was explaining it was the horizontal mean sea level. So he's already established it's horizontal. Now we've got a 500 meter distance between 2 points along that horizontal mean sea level. So it's all horizontal angles and level.
Base of the cliff to the boat. And that was already measured, and that happens to be to the right of the angle, of this angle of elevation, and it's called ADJ. That's adjacent, which means right next to. So we've established that. That's always the first thing.
Hold on, I need to get some of this written down. Adjacent means right next to. Gotcha. Got it written down. Thank you.
Over adjacent. Now, by now, you probably know what opposite over adjacent is. What is it? It's tan. That's right. It's tan theta equals opposite over adjacent. And that equals, let's put in the numbers. Well, straight over here for the opposite, we have h. Let's put that in. All over, and then adjacent, which is the distance from the boat all the way to the base of the cliff, we can see.
Okay, so Earth's measured flat. There's nothing really else to say other than that's how we measure, in this case, height of this cliff, perpendicular to a plane of reference with a horizontal distance. That's how it's done. In this case, by way of elevation angle. That's what we're doing.
That baseline over there, Nathan, is that baseline flat and level?
Yeah. It can't not be, or it won't be a measurement.
Exactly.
It wouldn't be an elevation angle, and it's mean sea level. Yeah. So I mean that was the main reason. I just wanted to when I watched this, that's what I liked about it, because like I've said, I've had arguments with ballers about the mean sea level being the adjacent, and they argue the toss it's not. You can't use the surface of Earth. Well, this guy's showing you can. We know he's not doing celestial navigation, but he's using a similar process, and he's using sea level. It's horizontal, and so yes, mean sea level will be used for your elevation angle, the base, the adjacent. And that's the reason I wanted to just point that out, Nathan. The rest of it, maybe we don't need to go through. It's just working out that now. But that was the main gist of it.
What I noticed they're doing now on deck is they're separating the ocean, the seas, from the earth. The ocean is one thing, the earth is another thing. But this would be the same thing if you're doing it on land and you were trying to survey the land.
Well, you have trig points, don't you? And you can triangulate them trig points, along a horizontal baseline, and they've got these mean sea level height on them, and you can use a level there to make sure everything's level, and they are level because you'll be using a theodolite on them to measure further angles of large areas of the land horizontally. So yeah, that's how you do it on land. We watched that video the other day, didn't we? Remember the mapping guy? He explained it really, really well. Indeed. I mean, he looked really like he was enjoying his job and explaining how Earth's measured flat to us all. I did enjoy that one.
Yeah, but we don't understand.
What's not to understand? I mean, I
don't
don't care.
Nathan.
We've gone through his video, and we'll go through others similar to his in that regard, and they'll be the same. It'll be people like this guy. He's not having to make any disclaimers about how non-horizontal the 500 meters is. He's not having to make a disclaimer about how non-90 degrees perpendicular to that 500 meters the height is being measured. It's just a measurement. It goes without saying that Earth is flat. Here it is being measured flat, like it's always measured, and always was measured, and always will be measured flat. That's just what Earth is. Flat. Or we wouldn't be measuring it that way, would we?
Nope.
Nope. There'd be some other process that would be in place, using the curve of the Earth, to not get an elevation angle. There'd be another way of measuring to account for that, and it would be shown and displayed how that's done. But that's never shown and displayed because we're not using a curved Earth. We're using sea level. Sorry, being sea level.
Well, if you're going to do that, then you're going to need different tools. They have to come up with a tool called the curval.
Yeah, the curval in the globe box.
Glocks. You put your curval in your glocks, not your box, your glocks.
That's it, yeah.
I'm happy to just leave this on screen as a diagrammatical example of Earth being measured flat. Like I say, it becomes redundant to actually mention it when you're a normie, because it goes without saying, if it wasn't flat, you wouldn't be capable of making this measurement. Now, Earth just is measured flat, and the whole last 10 years of our lives, if we've been here on flat Earth doing what we do, has been avoiding talking about how Earth gets measured. Turning flatties into conspiratard idiots that talk about 9/11 truth and Sandy Hook, and allowing the ballers to utilise these very same flat Earth measurements to claim that they're on a ball with them without having any challenge. They're using the horizontal distance measurements too when they're suggesting that they can compare and contrast what we should or shouldn't see at a distance that they gather up from Google Earth. You're just utilising flat Earth measurements in all instances, but just nobody was around to say, don't do that, and say it's not flat. That's really silly. But now what we're finding is, or I'm being told, I'm not experiencing this firsthand, we're being told that our compadres over in other servers are banning the use of the people who say, well, we're just measuring it flat in this instance. So this guy, he wouldn't do very well in certain servers because he'd be told you're not allowed to just measure the height of a cliff face, because by doing so, you're automatically acknowledging ipso facto that Earth has to be and is being measured flat. You're like, yeah, he is, isn't he? But he doesn't care. He's just going about his normie business, measuring the height of this here cliff, like he's not got a care in the world, because he hasn't. Now, I would suggest that, it wouldn't be very fair for you, if you're a ball-believing fundamentalist zealot, to start telling this guy what he should do with his life. Like, you need to explain to your audience that you're not measuring Earth ball-shaped because it's just convenient to not measure it ball-shaped. That doesn't mean it's not ball-shaped, though, and it definitely doesn't mean it's flat when you're measuring it flat, okay? You need to put all these disclaimers into your next version. In fact, remake this, and just delete it, and make sure you add some comments before you do to the info box so that everyone knows how ball-shaped it is.
You know what's weird, Nathan? In the beginning, if you remember, it was ballers and they were relying on us to skip right past it. Like, we didn't see it, right? But they were using flat Earth measurements the whole time. Now we see it, and it's not the ballers telling us, don't do that. It's flat Earthers telling us, don't do that. It's very strange.
Well, I don't know that it is flat earthers that are saying that. They say they're flat earthers. They could just be LARPers.
No, these are well-named people in servers that, they're just not going with the measurements for some reason.
Well, why else would you tell people not to use a particular flat earth argument? So if it's a ball game and you see someone else doing a particular play, and you're allowed, it's not in the rules to not just copy them. You'd copy them, right, if it's a successful play. But that's not what they're doing. They're not saying, don't use that play, because we can't, we're not allowed to. If they're flatties, they can. But they're saying, don't use it. It's not fair to say it's measured flat. Go and tell this guy. I mean, I'm saying that in jest, because I don't think you should. I don't think anybody should go and tell this guy anything. He's happy, look how happy he is measuring Earth flat. He don't need a load of idiots telling him, well, by doing this, you're making Earth flat. Well, yeah, he is. It's just how he's measuring it, though, isn't it? Why wouldn't he measure Earth flat? That's how it's measured.
Yeah. He's taking advantage of mean sea level and using it for an elevation angle measurement. You know what I mean? I mean, I've not seen that. I did have a browse over that list a little bit. I can't remember it all, but there's a few, anything to do, like the pitch data, saying that's a bad idea. Pitch data is in reference to the horizontal plane that the aeroplane is flying over. Yeah. So it is something to do, it's a measurement. You're using Earth for the measurement, the surface of Earth as a horizontal plane. Same as the, I'm sure they said celestial navigation. Like I've just explained in this, celestial navigation, especially when you're out at sea, you're using the sea level, mean sea level, for the horizontal baseline. So it's a great example, celestial navigation, of how Earth is being used as a flat horizontal baseline for the elevation angle. Admittedly, there's something about a rainbow and a dome on there. Yeah, I mean, that's nothing to do with a measurement. That is nonsense. You wouldn't be sort of bringing that up. But anything that you can reference measurements to, yeah, you're going to be doing that. All right.
That's not the purpose of this video. But essentially, what you're able to do, what the book is able to do, is to say, listen, if you're seeing star A at 50 degrees, okay, and not at 90 degrees, well, the only way you can do that is that you have to be a certain distance away from its location at 6 p.m.
Yeah, so this is establishing ground positions.
90 sorry, Nathan.
No, you go ahead.
I'm just sorry, I didn't. It was a bad line. Did he mention 90 degrees there? Is that a 90 degree angle? Did he say? So what's the requirements of a 90 degree? I mean, it looks like he's using sea level. I'm sorry, I mean mean sea level there. Again, like on the other video, for the adjacent or the baseline, and then he's got a square there. That's a 90 degree angle, which would be two straight lines, and he's using sea level for one of them.
Pause. I'm noticing something. Does anybody see that sun?
Yeah, see it.
Does anybody see that? What do you want to call that? That sun ray going straight and level across the ocean?
Because it's flat.
Well, just a quick point. I do like the way that One Deck is bringing us back to that horizontal baseline. How did he get that angle? That is so instructive that the people who are listening are really getting it. It's so important. It's critical, crucial, fundamental that baseline is horizontal. And the fact that One Deck is actually bringing that back every time the guy brings it up really does send that message up. So well done there, picking that up nicely. Thank you.
I'm sorry to do this. I'm actually getting word in my ear that this argument's actually on a list. So it's probably best that you don't point out that we're measuring Earth flat with this stuff. It's on a list. Did you guys not know that?
Well, it's on a list of things not to say when trying to prove Earth is
I'm
flat.
afraid so, Neil. I think it's curtains for this argument now. It's on a list. Let's be honest. You do obey the list, don't you, Neil? You know what happens if you don't obey the list? The world will end.
This isn't an argument. This word argument keeps coming up. This what is on screen now is somebody explaining how to use the sun in this instance to maintain an elevation angle using sea level. There's no like ifs or buts about this. This is what happens. People have been doing this for hundreds, if not thousands of years. It's not an argument. It's a statement of fact. And you do utilize the sea level. You can see it there. You've seen it in the last video. Sea level is being used for the adjacent, for the horizontal baseline, for the elevation angle. End of story. It's a fact.
Yes.
So you can't say not the ground.
Well, what One Deck's pointing out is that it's a prerequisite. Therefore, to say, and therefore it's flat, is redundant. It's like when you're cooking a roast chicken, and you say, well, you turn the oven on to 200 degrees C. That means it's hot. You don't need to add that bit. It goes without saying that the temperature that you're utilising in that description means the oven's going to be hot. Well, in this instance, when you're measuring adjacent, when you're taking a 90 degrees to a ground position, when you're measuring a surface level, when you're utilising the sea level, when you're measuring elevation, when you're detailing elevation angle measurement, these are all flat Earth prerequisites. It goes without saying that Earth is flat. It can't be anything else, or it's not the measurement that's being detailed. So it's almost redundant to say, well, this is a argument for a flat Earth. No, it's Earth being measured and utilised usefully flat, because it is. When we use Earth, it's flat. So it's measured. Goes without saying. It's not an argument, as one Beck's pointing out. It's just a statement of fact. Earth is flat. Why else would we be measuring it like this? That would be flat. Well, obviously, because we're measuring it flat, it is flat. Otherwise, you wouldn't measure it flat. What's that? You think it's ball-shaped? Well, no, we'd be measuring it ball-shaped if it was ball-shaped. We don't. We measure it flat.
I think that's where the confusion is. They're thinking it's an argument when it's not.
You can perceive it in that way. If you're still on this tip that you need to figure out if you're on a ball or not, then you've succumbed to the trick. The trick being, make sure you always think, am I or am I not on a ball? Because then you just ignore and whistle straight past all of the measurements of Earth, which are always flat. Even if you want to believe you're on a ball, they're still flat. The measurements of Earth are flat if you want to use those measurements of Earth to turn into a ball. Geometrically, mathematically, you still have to measure Earth flat to do that. So it's not like, oh, well, it goes without saying we'll measure Earth flat because it's a ball. No, that's a contradiction in terms. That's very silly. Boxing at microphones as we're speaking. I'm really sorry. We should be in the middle of doing live shows, but I will press play as soon as I've cut this little bit of tape off. I promise.
Since I have a moment,
and
B. Bennett. Oh, I'm sorry. You want me to keep going on?
You carry on.
B. Bennett from chat. He wanted me to point out that they like to use the Glovers. They like to use they're using tangential planes, and but this guy isn't.
A tangent's not a measurement, though, is it? If you're trying to conceptually envisage something like that, then you're not actually making a measurement of the surface. Whereas in the case of celestial navigation, you are actually measuring the surface. So you can get measurements from the surface. You can draw tangents to a ball. But we're not doing that. We're measuring the surface. So, yeah, makes sense.
Plus, I keep going on about this fact. A tangent line isn't tangible. It's a mathematical concept. It's only used in like calculus, and when you're doing stuff on your computer screen, you can for different things that you might be doing in college or school or university. That's when you'll use a tangent line. It's not something that you can physically touch and use. So in the example on there, where the guy's got the triangle and the horizontal baseline across sea level, mean sea level, that isn't a tangent line. You're utilizing the actual surface of Earth. Nobody's pulling a tangent line out. For one, you can't do that. It's a mathematical concept. It's not used in reality. A tangent line is not used in reality. It's used on a computer screen. Just let that sink into your head.
it's basically going to build us a little circle here. So let's just make a number up. Let's say in order to see star A at 50 degrees, okay, at 6 p.m. at night, you have to be 900 miles away to be able to see that observation.
Wow.
Okay.
I mean, that's 900 miles of a horizontal adjacent baseline using mean sea level. And that's probably going to be a radius, which is a straight line of a circle of equal altitude.
Yeah, so to put it another way, he's describing 900 miles of flat Earth.
Well, I could be 900 miles here, or I could be 900 miles anywhere along a big circle, right? I could see that same observation over here.
A very big, flat, two-dimensional circle, 90 degrees up from star A down to the 90-degree point that's perpendicular to your position, if you're trying to establish the ground position of this star. Is he trying to find out how high the star is? Is it just me, or does he just want the ground position by way of circle of equal elevation when he's describing this navigation process? He's not trying to find the height, is he? Just for the dumbos out there that seem to think this process is to acquire heights of the star. No, it's not, you bunch of idiots.
Okay, I could be over here at 6 p.m. and still see that at 50 degrees. So that's not really helping me either, because I could be here, I could be here, I could be here, I could be here. All these positions are 900 miles away from star A's location. And I can see the star at 50 degrees at all these various positions.
You know what you need? You need more than one star on a great big massive flat expanse that you can draw lots of circles of equal elevation, 900 miles radius. If you do 2 or 3 of them, you could find where you are. You could be on one of these positions where the other star's angle overlaps. That's what you really need to do. I'm ahead of the game with this.
So how could I help myself out here? I mean, it's better than nothing. I mean, at least I know generally that I'm along this circle, if you will, at 6 p.m. And by the way, the technical word for this is what they call an LOP, line of position. So, well, you're looking at it as a circle, but technically we call it LOP, a line of position. So I'm along this, somewhere along this circle, okay? And of course the circle just continues out. So it's a start. So how can I help, really get an accurate idea of where I'm at? Well,
I'm way ahead of you. Just need another star.
Oh, I look in the sky and I look for something else. Okay, I come over here and I see, lo and behold, I see star B twinkling over here. And I'm like, oh, star B. Let me go ahead and take a look at you at the same time. Well, actually, let's say it's 6:01 or 6:02 p.m. And I do the same thing with star B. And I go through the whole rigmarole just as I did here. I measure its angle. I look in the book and everything else. And the book tells me, hey, the only way you could be seeing star B at this particular angle is you would have to be along, let's say, this line. Okay, this line of position. So now I have 2 lines of position. All right, I can be seeing star B, say, somewhere along this circle at 6:02. So you can see where the 2 lines or the 2 circles are crossing seems to be the obvious place where I'm going to be at, right? And that is called...
No, because this circle would also intersect this circle at another point over here somewhere. So on your line of position for this measurement, there's a simultaneous duplicate of an intersecting point on both circles for 2 measurements. Now, it might be
correct
that this is in the sea and the other intersecting point is on the land. Therefore, you go, well, I'm on a boat, so that discounts this position over here. But if you're doing this and you're just out at sea, there's a very good chance that where the 2 circles, the lines of position, intersect, are both in the ocean, and therefore you go, well, am I at this position or am I at the other intersecting position? That's why you do 3. So once you've done the 3rd star, you know where you are on a flat Earth.
Yep. Well pointed out, Nathan.
called a fix in navigation terms, F-I-X, a fix.
Yeah, I mean, you'd call it a fix if you could discount the other intersecting point. You'd normally only be absolutely certain in this scenario with 3, but he's close enough.
Fix, and that's your position based upon your navigation.
Not the height of the star. I thought the conclusion was how high the star was. Maybe this guy doesn't know he hasn't got the memo. Maybe
navigation efforts. So
navigation efforts, not star height measuring efforts. Maybe the what do we call them? Wankers out there, the straw man using wankers. He's not trying to find the height of the star, wankers. Trying to find your navigational position. Did you hear him? Finding his position with flat Earth measurements there. Did you hear him? He's not getting the height of the star because he doesn't need it. If you're trying to find your way home, you need your fix. That's where you are, on the ground. The flat ground that you measured with circles of flat equal elevation for flat circles with lines of position on them. So you can find the intersecting point between two lines of position. They're flat. That's how Earth gets measured. Oh, hold on. I'm getting news in my ear. This is also on a list.
Just watching this, though, everybody who's just a small diagram we've just watched about this guy explaining how when you're at sea, using the sea level for your elevation angles, it's obvious. That's obvious what's happening there, isn't it? You can see what's happening, can't you? This guy on the water, he's taking elevation angles to start A and B. He's using the surface level of the ocean for the elevation angles. He's utilizing surface level of the Earth to find his position. He's not, and it's horizontal, not curved. Now, nobody can come in here, and one of them distances is 900 miles of a straight line. In some instances, it could be 3,000 miles of a straight line across the ocean between GP of star and yourself.
Yeah, Earth's so
Straight,
big, it's really flat.
horizontal. Yeah. But you can't, somebody who's watching this and looking at that can't say, well, you're not using the surface of Earth.
We are. It's
Well, they
what
can.
we're using specifically to get the measurements, and then we're finding our position on that surface. The one that the people who say it's not their ball surface say it isn't. It's just not your ball surface, you bunch of muppets. It's just measuring it flat. You can't measure it any other way. It can't be 90 degrees to the ground position if it's not. It can't be an elevation with respect to the 900-mile distance that he described to the edge of the line of position, unless it's flat. It is. That's how he's measuring it. Yeah, that's how Earth gets measured. There aren't any exceptions to this. We don't measure Earth anything other than flat because it is flat, or we wouldn't measure it that way. We do because it is.
That's the basics of celestial navigation.
Just the basics of it, you basic bitches. Understand how flat it is.
And let me just actually throw something else in. If I wanted to make my fixed location more accurate, what could I do? Well, if here I use 2 stars.
Get the height of the star. Let's see if I'm right.
Maybe I want to look at another star, star C. And I would
Get the height of
continue
that.
to get more and more lines of position, more circles. So you could see it gets pretty involved. And actually,
He's just going through what I went through earlier, but he's not mentioned the specific reason that you do this. If, like I say, if this intersecting point was achievable by discounting a second of the intersecting points on the 2 circles, you're not going to get any more accurate than that. Like position C, if he measures an angle to it now, will intersect here as well, right? Because that is where you are if you've discounted the other point, but it doesn't make it more accurate. You know, it only discounts the second intersection point that it could be. Well, that's the inaccuracy that you're trying to rule out with star C.
when I was in the Navy, and I don't know if you know this or not, but in a former life, I was a U.S. Navy officer. I was a surface warfare officer, and on one of my tours, I used to navigate a billion-dollar warship. That was my responsibility. So I had a bunch of people, a bunch of equipment, and I took this stuff very seriously because I had to. But I would say, for our team, probably take us anywhere from say 15 to 30 minutes of observations with our sextants and doing some pretty good level of mathematics to work out and get these positions. So if it looks involved.
Say level then, did he?
To a certain
this
level.
guy's been in the Navy. He's been on big bloody warships. He's not, he's not an idiot. This is what he's been doing. He's explaining what he's done. It's a very important means of trying to pinpoint your position if there's nothing else you can use to save lives when out at sea, to get you back safely, or find out where you are. This is what you're using. This is how it's done.
That's because it is involved. But the thing about it, the beauty about it, is without any electronics at all, simply armed with a sextant, a book and some math, okay, and obviously some training, you can locate your position anywhere on Earth. And I think that's really cool. Using the stars, I mean, that's amazing. And then
yeah, it's amazing that, you know, for this guy, he doesn't have to go out of his way to mention an excuse for why it ain't ball shaped, but it isn't ipso facto. He's just measured Earth flat in a multitude of different ways. That's how Earth gets measured. Like, there isn't any exceptions to this. That's just how it's done. In all instances, whenever we measure Earth, it's going to be measured flat. Like, this guy just measured it. Yeah? Now, I'm sure there's a whole faction of fundamentalist religious zealots that feel the need to compel themselves to tell the guy, you need to disclaim why it's not being measured ball-shaped, and then explain that that doesn't mean it's not ball-shaped, in spite of you not measuring it ball-shaped. And when you measure it flat, you need to also disclaim that that doesn't mean it's flat when you require it to be flat, because that's how you're measuring it. Yeah, there's going to be people out there that feel compelled to do that. I don't. I just understand English when he measures Earth flat, because there's no other way to measure it. That's how Earth gets measured. That's because Earth's flat.
Even after he said 900 miles? Gee.
Yeah, the other thing too is you should really get appreciation of how ancient mariners, how they established trade throughout the world, and of course all you history buffs can kind of really get into the value of navigation, how it plays its role in history. It's really amazing.
It's just amazing how flat Earth always was measured. As part of history, it's very important that we understand how flat Earth was always being measured throughout history. Very important indeed. I agree.
But if you are trying to talk to somebody about how we utilise the Earth and as a horizontal flat plane, don't use this example because apparently it's on a list somewhere that you're not allowed to use it.
Yes, I'm just looking it up. I'm getting word in my ear right now. Yes, apparently talking about how flat we measure Earth with elevation angles, circles of equal elevation, and horizontal distance. It's on a list. You can't talk about it.
Elevation profiles are the stupidest thing to prove flat Earth. What is wrong with you all?
What's wrong with me? Talking about how flat Earth is when we deviate from how flat Earth is in a measurement of Earth and how flat it is, or isn't, depending on the elevation profile. I mean, that's just stupid speak for flirfs and stuff. Yeah, Earth's measured flat in every way you can measure Earth. It's because it's flat. I mean, there's nothing more to say about it. It almost feels redundant at this stage. But, I mean, there's going to be, as I say, people out there that find themselves in the awkward position. We call it the hard place, where they want to deny the measurements of Earth because it's not measuring ball-shaped. Now, it doesn't matter to them that later down the road they'll have to relinquish all belief in any sphere shape that they develop from these flat measurements that they also require. In the moment, it proves it's flat. Therefore, they're not a measurement. It's not the surface. You're deluded. You're a bunch of idiots. How do you sleep at night? Terribly is the answer.
Well, I think they need to be more specific. If you're going to say it's not our ball surface. And I'll agree.
Yeah. Next time you want to say, no, with this guy, he's not measuring the surface level for an angle. When he measures the surface level for an angle. What you actually mean is it's not your ball surface that he's measuring, because you don't get angles from ball surfaces. You certainly don't get vast 900-mile circles of equal elevation to give you a line of position. Unless Earth's flat. I mean, it's a prerequisite. If it isn't, there's none of this works. It fails miserably. It's got to be flat. You can't measure it any other way. Earth's measured flat. This is it being measured flat. It's not complicated.
Like I said before, a tangent line is not being used in this demonstration. The surface of the water, sea level, is being used. Tangent lines are not tangible. That's where the word comes from. You can't touch one. You can't feel one. It's a mathematical concept. So put your tangent lines away. They're useless.
I can feel it up if I want to. You're not the boss of me. I'm stroking my tangent right now. Is there anything else to cover in this video?
I think you think that was it. We've gone through the main points
If
there.
you enjoyed
There
this
is,
video,
it's gonna be
please
flat
follow me on
anyway.
YouTube, or rather come on over to tabletclass.com. Maybe you want to take a free trial. But anyways, thanks for spending a little time with me, and have a great...
It's been a pleasure. I mean, we haven't shared out your link, so I'll do that now. Please let Table Class Math? Something like that. No, at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a polite comment that doesn't immediately get removed by the YouTube algorithmic bots, or indeed the videographer himself. So there's a link, as I say, whirling its way by. If you are amongst the 58 people watching live, please do this as we speak. Pop along to his channel. I'm not saying it for my health. Let him know. Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me. It's quite an old video. It's from 13 years ago. Right around the time I was just edging my way into this subject. Probably looking at psychopathy and subliminal messages when he made this video. Little did he know that we'd be covering him 13 years later, and you, my very valued audience member, would be toddling along 13 years later to this video to say, you know what, I'm watching a video by Nathan Oakley 1980 right now, and he's talking about you and this video and how flat Earth is being measured. Isn't that amazing? Doesn't time fly?
Do you mean to tell me that 13 years ago, this guy was telling people how Earth is measured? Wow. Who'd have thought?
Who'd have thought how flat it was?
Well, to think about it, throughout history, they were telling us that. Nobody was hiding anything. So when people say, oh, they're hiding Earth, what? They've been saying it from the beginning. Just didn't pick up on it. That's our fault.
Yeah, we've been trained for such a long time that we need to argue about how Earth's not a ball. And we lost track of how flat Earth was always being measured, even to believe you're on a ball, to then for us to turn around and say how it isn't one. It's like, no, it's just measured flat. There's no need to make this complicated. It's not that serious. Arguing the complexities of heliocentrism, why would you spend so much of your day doing that? It really isn't that serious, is it? Shout out to, is it chocolate? How do you say that? Tuberculous says happy birthday. Gives me 100 Aussie dollars. Thank you very much indeed for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Hope I've said your name right.
I think that's Tuberticus. He's always in there giving you some money. It's a good guy.
Yes, thank you very much indeed for the super chat. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to give it a little thumbs up and everything. And a little heart. Look, check it out. Right. We've only got about 5 minutes left on this live stream. It's been fun. It's been emotional.
Been educational.
And very instructive. It's been excellent. Like we said, the Earth was always flat and always utilized flat for eons. Thank you.
And measured, always measured flat. It's amazing when you look back and see how Earth has always been measured flat. Makes you want to smack yourself in the face.
Yeah, it does seem obvious after the fact, doesn't it? In the pre-show, you were talking about somebody who's making it all complicated, talking hypothetically about going up mountain tops and firing out nail guns. I'm like, well, that'd be a ballistic trajectory that you're going to need a flat Earth for. And Neil's like, yeah, and you're going to need an elevation off surface level for the height of the mountain. Nathan sent me to give you a polite comment. Thank you for 900 miles circle of equal elevation, says Unitoximum via a super chat. I assume that's what you've put on his channel. Thank you very much for popping along. And indeed, if you are one of those audience members that do actually take heed when I suggest that you go out and let these various videographers know, at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me with a polite comment that doesn't immediately get removed by the YouTube algorithmic bots, or indeed the videographer themselves. Thank you if you're that guy or girl out there spreading the good word. Hopefully.
So that guy's going to be like, this is a 13-year-old video. Somebody's commenting on it now. Then you're going to go to you and see a flat earther. Oh, boy.
What, praising
Open
him?
up a can of
Praising him
worms.
for his consistency, how beautifully eloquent he's been in describing how his flat earth measurements function. Well, good on you. Thank you very much indeed. Celestial Navigation Math being the name of the video. Brilliant work. What more can I say? I'm not telling him he needs to explain and disclaim why it's not something that it isn't being measured. Am I? Others might do that. I mean, I wouldn't advise people do that, but that's what people do. Maybe we could put him on a list.
There's no way in the world. Sorry, Neil. Just saying, there's no way in the world anybody can look at that 900-mile radius and argue that it's a curved measurement. You can't do that now. We've just shown you what it is. It's using sea level. It's 900 miles. How can anybody look at that and say, well, that's curved?
Well, now, we always said that the ball is mathematical. Well, I'm starting to see that flat Earth is mathematical. It's all in the math. It's right there.
Yeah, it's basic stuff. It goes without saying Earth is flat. That's how it's measured.
I think it'd be a good saying if we'd started telling people that Earth was measured flat. Why don't we start doing that?
That's copywritten. So again,
It's all in the math.
I'm getting word in my ear again. I'm sorry to do this. What's that? Saying Earth's measured flat is not allowed. It's on the list. Oh no, I've just got bad news for you guys. Apparently saying Earth's measured flat, even when it's measured flat, like in these examples, that's not allowed. It's on a list. I don't know what to say.
I'd like to say hello to a few people that I know are listening. Hello.
Okay. I'd like to do the same too. Hey, Mum, how's it going? I'm on TV.
We know you're listening. I forgot how to say the guy's surname, but I know he's listening. Aiken or something?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Guy used to be on this panel. What are you talking about? Adam Larkin? Aiken?
Larkin. Whatever. Okay, I'm going to round out this live show. With that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and Jeepers Panels for making today's live show possible. If indeed you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Programming streams, however, stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow.
Nathan Oakley. You don't forget names like that, really. But at the end of the day, right, Adam? Yeah, I didn't quite catch the surname. That's why. So sorry about that. Sorry about that, mate. But there you are.
That's why it's beautiful, Jen. It's perfect. Like, we're not even telling you to say that. You're just saying it.
That's natural. Yeah, that's it. That is the situation,
Nathan's
actually.
point.
Yeah. Yeah, well done, One Deck. That was very instructive. Nice video. Clean, concise. And I love the way you're pointing out the level. Oh, sorry, I mean sea level. Mean sea level. There's people out there now who are beginning to see, wow. And the fact that this video was 13 years ago, right, thanks a lot. Another round of applause there. Great stuff.
Yeah. Thanks, Jen. Yeah. I called it back to basics because the guy admitted he was not an expert in the thing. He did, like Nathan pointed out, only give 2 fixes, and he should have explained why. But he said it out there, and we watched what was happening. We've seen what was being used. Sea level, as in the first little video, the guy said mean sea level will be the horizontal. So we're not making this up. That's the point.
No.
When we say this, when we've been saying this out in the arena, it's like, no, you don't use the surface of Earth. You use no, you don't use a tangent line. And yes, you do use the surface of Earth. All right, You don't. Well, you use a bubble sextant, but that's still referencing horizontal to the ground surface level.
It's a horizontal leveling tool. We need it right now. You said the guy isn't even an expert. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. The guy wasn't even an expert. You see, it's just making it more accessible to the ordinary man and ordinary woman, child on the street. You can do what he's just done. You don't have to be an expert to know that the earth is flat. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, let's all try and find some more like that. That mapping guy was good. If you get some more of them trig point ones, they're pretty good, I think. Or just mapping or elevation profiles, anything like that that's pointing out this is how we use surface level and sea level to map and things. That's what we've got to try and find. Measurements, baby.
Just basic stuff, right?
Remember that there's an old video where, I can't remember, I don't know if it was a news program, there was two people, I think it was in London, the tallest building in London, and they was doing the Al-Biruni method of doing some trigonometry. Do you remember it? It was years ago, but I just stumbled across it, and they explaining how they're going to get the height of this building by, taking an elevation angle to it, and then on the black whiteboard they draw a flat horizontal baseline. They both start giggling, saying, well, "We'll just have to presume Earth's flat at this point,"
Oh, yeah.
and start giggling like, "Well, we'll just have to pretend it's flat," because it was obvious what they was doing. They drew the horizontal line, and they've got the triangulation. They was doing it for an audience on TV, and admitting.
It must have been like, is it too obvious? Maybe we should giggle about it.
Yeah, but I think it's important to highlight that, the way they try to hide what they're doing, because they're measuring that earth flat and they're hiding it behind the giggling. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the length and breadth that they take to keep you thinking you're on a globe, that they would actually tell you they're measuring it flat in front of your face, giggle, and then carry on, and you think, oh, yeah, they're really on a globe. They're not really measuring it flat, but that's what they're actually doing. So you've got to really bring that out. That nasty piece of deception has to be highlighted, because it is nasty. It's insulting you, listener. It's playing into your possible lack of concentration, because that's how they get you. If you're not concentrating all the time, they get you. Hence, one deck kept repeating, again, it's mean sea level. Okay, that really it pulls the listener back into the reality of it all. Like I can't stress how instructive that was, one deck. Okay, and it's necessary. So well done. And I think the same way where they're giggling and hiding the fact that they're actually measuring flatness whilst in front of you. Again, another piece of instructive work there. Need to bring that up all the time. Needs to.
Well, it's a psychological thing, right?
Yes,
we
it
were
is.
psychologically instructed that we live on a globe, right?
Yes. Yeah. So, we can't repeat that enough as far as I'm concerned, So the listener actually gets it. It's driving it home, driving the nail home slowly. It's necessary to be bringing that up. Where they're using it level and where they're hiding it level. Both sides of the scale have to be brought to balance, as far as I'm concerned. So thanks again. That's great. As far as I'm concerned, the listeners would have learned something today, for sure. The observers, the listeners, they've learned. And it's for their benefit, to be quite honest. That's why we're doing all this.
I'm thinking that on other servers, they might be afraid that, if everybody knows Earth is flat and we can't continue to argue this, what's going to happen to our server? No, you'll become an educational server. You'll become instructors. Like we are over here. We instruct, we educate how Earth is measured flat and always was.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you don't give up. Yeah, and again, once again, on behalf of Nathan himself there, all the people are sending him the super chats and the money and that, really kind of you, to be quite honest, because everyone's working hard on that. So can't stress enough those people who are bringing in the money for him. Good stuff, really. Nice human decency is out there and kindness. Thank you.
Oh, it's a nice community.
Thank you for thanking them.
Up yet.
Yeah.
I think it's a great community that you put together here, Nathan.
Mm.
Well, thank you, Neil. Making a thumbnail for the show at the minute.
That's what it is, though. Very educational. It gets people's attention because you can't ignore that flat baseline that's always there. It's always there. Every time they're doing a measurement, it's always there. Why is it always there? One deck. Oh, he's not here right now. I'll answer for him because it has to be there. Can't do a measurement without it.
Have you checked if that's on a list or not?
Let me go check. Flat baseline. Do not argue flat baseline. Flat baseline arguments are stupid. Don't use that as an argument. I don't see. Oh, there it is. That would fall under the elevation angle. Stupid to argue that elevation angle proves that the Earth is flat.
Hold on, I'll just write this down. It is stupid. Gotcha, thanks.
Also, elevation profiles. That's weak. That's the word they use there. It's weak. And that falls along with pitch data. If you're arguing that pitch data proves that Earth is being measured flat, that's weak. Very weak because it's a post-algorithmic measurement.
Yeah, no, that's a solid slam dunk, that one, as far as I'm concerned.
No, it's not raw data.
I'm immovable on that one. That in-flight telemetry data, that's, as we've been saying all along, Nathan as well, that's what they use in a court of law to determine whether or not compensation is going to be paid to those who got injured in an accident or who may have lost their lives, right? And who is responsible. This data is crucial. So when it's measuring, it's telling you what happened during the flight and how the plane is flying, you can't argue with that. No one can argue. It's measuring horizontal. It's taking it from the horizontal baseline and it's giving you the angle, whether the angle is up or down. It's all written. It's all there to be seen. So, and that I'd lay my life on. Thank you.
Oh, I got a message coming in from AI Overlord. Don't forget to vote for me for liar, racist, scumbag, shill of the year. Somebody's been listening. I got it. Yeah, but he can't get on. I told him I don't want to hear you anymore making videos or claiming that. Come on the show. He can't come on the show because he's banned. So
I didn't ban him.
Righteous did. I guess I don't know why. Why did Righteous ban him? I'll have to ask Righteous that. But I can't I can't indict him for not showing up. He can't.
I'm just playing the violins, somber music.
Well, that original list came from that guy Lotrek, right? And I think it's some guy called Master Yoda. I think he's from the English Hub at 24/7. So I don't know where they're at. But if they're declaring that these are weak arguments, I guess I know where they're at.
It would appear that the Globers in particular hate the absolute position that we hold where we're saying it's measured flat. That's an absolute, just like you need air to live. You know?
Yeah, if you're in a losing position, you need ambiguity. You can't be just in the losing position. You need that's the whole purpose of us being here for the last 10 years, to fight with the ambiguity of it. It might not be a ball. It might be a ball. Is it a ball? Isn't it a ball? Too far? Not too far? No, all that's out the window now. There's no ambiguity. It's just measured flat. Meaning all ball belief is off the table. What you'd prefer there was still ambiguity? Yeah, I bet you would.
Yeah, and we whistled past it, and they weren't. I don't think they were counting on us, like figuring it out, how they were right from the beginning, using flat Earth, but we were just like looking for that curve. Where's that curve? Stepping right over all the freaking flat Earth measurements they used just to find that curve.
Yeah, where's the curve, we asked, because we were trained to. Now we don't ask such questions. Now we go, it's measured flat. What's that? We can't say that because it's on a list. Well, what am I going to do with all these maps and scales and flatness and horizontal sea level and the linear distance measurements? We can just chuck all those away too. Oh no, we want to keep those, but just not mention how flat they must be. But they are.
Yeah, I feel that there's a movement out there that's trying to shut down the flat earthers' arguments, especially their absolutes. That's not going to work, though. Do you know what I mean? And, there's no way that's ever going to happen, especially as long as I draw breath anyway.
Well, they're trying to make it happen by having ballers and flat earthers agree that these prerequisite measurements are stupid. I mean, it's foolish to argue from that point of view. What is wrong with you? So now it's 2 against 1. You see, the odds have changed.
Yeah, I don't give a crap. I literally couldn't care less. Do the people who were out there measuring Earth flat care? No, when that guy was sniffing his own farts with his trig points, he didn't care. When this guy was talking about getting the height of the cliff, he didn't care. He wasn't there looking for some stupid server's list that has agreement from ball earthers and anti-globers. Who cares? Somebody at my door. Back in a sec.
Well, currently, the people that do care are the ones who are just coming into the subject matter. That's why we're here. Because at the end of the day, we've got to help them along. So we're telling them it's measured flat. We show them how it's measured flat, how it's always been flat, and that's why we're here. And those people care. And then after a while, once they realize that the earth is indeed flat, they may gather themselves in groups and petition the education system to stop teaching the heliocentric model, or at least to teach the flat earth. If you're going to teach the heliocentric model, we want redress. That's important, I think, anyway, as a parent. Yeah.
Why are they teaching? Hold on. Why are they teaching it at all? If we're demonstrating that we're not living on a planet, we are showing you the measurements that it's flat. Why are you teaching this at all?
Exactly. Hence why they should be redressed. So there's going to be people who care about that.
It's my coffee. When I drink coffee, I drink cafe bourbon.
I don't care about that.
That's going to be a tough battle, Jin, the education system.
Well, not really, no, because maybe homeschooling might start increasing in Britain and people will just move away from the education system. They see it as a system that's setting them up to fail as such. So they might move away.
Oh, you think in homeschooling, you're not supposed to teach your children about heliocentrism?
It's what we call child abuse. It could be, why teach such things when they don't even exist? Can you imagine that? Oh, and the history behind the teachings and the deception that's continued to the very day. It's going to happen tomorrow. They're going to keep on teaching this nonsense and deceiving everybody.
Yeah,
I think that's important to highlight to people. They need to know this.
My kids are homeschooled, and I had to teach them that too.
Yeah.
It's in a test. I mean, they'll fail their science test if I don't teach them what's in the curriculum.
Yeah, I taught my children. I said, when they give you the answers at school, those stupid answers, put those stupid answers on the paper, okay? But then when you hand the paper in, say you don't believe anything you've written on this stupid paper. Boom. Yeah. Tell your teachers that and your educators and the examiner. that what you've written here doesn't match reality, but there you are. You see, you have the right to tell them that. Because I know if I knew all this when I was at school, that's exactly what I'd be saying to the teachers.
Well,
And
I
the
know that
examiners.
there would be an outrage if your child came home and was telling you 2 + 2 is 5.
Exactly.
So why is there not an outrage?
Well, the parents are very ignorant of this stuff, which is why we're important, I think, in getting that across to people. And I think that today in particular, as well as the days gone by, the Nathan Oakley Show has done a great job in doing that, you know? Yeah.
I agree. Jim, our children at this moment right now in schools all over the world, although we are standing on a flat, motionless plane, they're being taught that we are on a moving, spinning water ball hurling through space. Why are parents not outraged?
Yeah. Once they realize it, they will be outraged. Just takes some time for it to sink in. Remember, they're under indoctrination. They've got their daily duties to do. That's the work and pay the bills, pay the tax, pay this, pay that. They're worn out. Their brain is knackered. They just want to rest. Do you know what I mean? And something like this, too technical, what they think is beyond their capability, they leave to the scientists and the experts. But it's them that's ripping them off. So they've got to wake up or snap out of that.
I think I got the answer, because
Go on in.
if the arithmetics are being taught wrong, that's going to affect your child in everyday life. But this won't. This can't affect them in any way. They'll still be able to go to the store and exact change after they pay for something, but Earth being a globe or being flat, it's not important in everyday life. That's how they're getting away with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But that's why it's important to get that across to the parent, that because of your lack of motivation and in understanding the importance of it, the deception continues and the industries continue. Those are the deceptive industries, space travel, etc. Satellites, okay, landing on the Mars, landing on the moon, satellites out in space. The James Webb at $10 billion. And then it broke down a little while just to create a little bit of drama. Oh, it's not quite working right. Helping to legitimize that it's already there when it's not. These kind of nonsenses that are going on. That's all because everybody's been indoctrinated. And then the ones who do find out, oh, it doesn't change my life. Well, it really doesn't. Well, it would if you put your back into it and stand up. Don't give up at the first point of realizing. Silly, because that means you just want it to continue. Oh, I know it's a deception, and then you do nothing about it. You don't change your lifestyle. You don't change anything. Silly.
I see your point on viewing the video first, because I left to go view that video of Lite, and sure enough, in there they're teaching you that you have to go fast enough to overcome gravity for the lift effect to work.
Yeah, it's got nothing to do with gravity at all. Gravity plays no part in aviation at all. Zero. I'm always quick to remind people of that. When you mention gravity, it means you have no understanding of the Earth you live on and the aviation and avionics and the principle of flight. And anyone using gravity as a thing, they're murdering the principle of flight, which I learned when I was at elementary school. I learned it myself from a Ladybird book called the Ladybird book series on how aeroplanes work. Okay, that was at my elementary school. I learned that. So the book taught me. I used the book. No teacher instructed me on that, and I built upon that. So don't be telling me gravity pulling the nose round or it's assisting in. No, that's not what's happening. Stop lying. That's what I mean. They lie. And then people call themselves pilots when they're not. If you're calling yourself a pilot and you're saying gravity assists in the flight, you need your license revoked. Stop flying.
Well, I said it has to overcome gravity to get in the air.
On a different note, did we find out how much a Brian's book is actually my book? Percentage-wise, like actionably, copyrightably mine? Because I just
Did
need
he
to find
say
out
it
how
was
much,
gonna be about-
percentage of
Hold
it's
on,
mine.
please.
Did we find out how much percentage of Brian's book's mine? Did we find that out?
Did he say it was about housekeeping? I don't remember.
I don't know. We need to find this out. We need to find out how much of Brian's book's actually my book.
He said he was going to call me in the next couple of days, so
I see.
I will
When you
ask him.
speak to him, can you just establish how much of Brian's book's mine so I can demand a percentage of it and how big my name will be on the front of it? Just can you find out how much he actually wrote and how much is just mine? Like copyrightable? Like copyright Nathan Oakley 1980 kind of mine? I mean, he said it was about housekeeping. That sounds very much like a Nathan Oakley copyright right there. It sounds like this is going to get my name on it too. It sounds like Nathan's going to have two books. Nathan Oakley's Big Book of Housekeeping, also with a bit of Brian's logic shittiness in tiny little writing underneath it. Because it sounds like Brian's book's 90% my book. Am I wrong?
Well, who came up with you can't have an elevation angle from a curved baseline?
So this all sounds like mine. I just need to know so we can action how much of Brian's book's going to be taken. Like my book. It's actually mine. I don't think Brian realises that yet. He needs to realise he didn't seem to have written much of his own book. And most of it's actually mine. Does he know this? If he doesn't, he needs to find out pretty sharp. So ask him, how much of your book did you actually write, Brian? It's all about Nathan's show. Because that's Nathan's.
Yeah, he's going to say, well, I wrote all of the book about Nathan's show. Wait, so you're saying that other people cannot write about your show? Yeah, I
think
found that.
hang on a minute. Sorry, Neil, to cut you off there. I think the legalities, there would be royalties would have to be paid to Nathan. Royalties, I think, is what Nathan would legally have a claim to. I think I'm right there. Yeah.
Yeah, where there's blame, there's a claim.
I like that one. Where there's a claim, there's a claim.
Well, hold on.
Stop it.
If we're in your room and somebody comes up with something and presents it in your room, who does it belong to?
Good point there, Nate and Neil. Good point.
You know, because Tesla came up with quite a few things. Unfortunately, he was in Edison's room. There's a problem there.
Yeah. But also, Edison cheated as well. You know, he bribed the patent office to push his invention in front of Tesla. By the way, that's what happened. He bribed them. Okay, that's how he got ahead. He pushed in by offering money, and then he bought his way to the front.
Doesn't matter. It was still his room. That's why Tesla lost. All creation properties belong to Edison. As long as you're using his tools, his equipment, his room, his finances, you have no standing.
Well, we need to get this squared away with Brian, don't we? Obviously, I wouldn't want Brian using any of my stuff. Especially not without my permission. Housekeeping, that very much sounds like a copyright Nathan Oakley 1980 scenario. And from what he's told me already, it's a book all about housekeeping. Yeah, I'm going to want my name on the top of this book, Brian, if you're listening. Apparently you are. Apparently you didn't, quote, leave the group like I was told by my Skype groups when it said you were leaving. Apparently you're a little bitch and you're still hanging around. Yeah, we're going to need to square away how much of your book's mine. How much of it did you really write, Brian? How much did you just plagiarise from me? Well, let's hope none of it's got anything to do with the stuff that's copywritten that's been broadcast out on my channel that I earn my living from. Because if it is, I'm going to be owning that book, Brian. I hope you understand that. Yeah? That everything that's done on this channel belongs to me. And if you're writing about that shit, that's mine. I'm going to take ownership of your book. Because you haven't really written it, have you, Brian? It's all just my stuff that you've plagiarised, clearly. I mean, it's got to ask yourself, how much of Brian's book's really Brian's? And the answer's very little.
It's funny, Nathan, because I was going to ask at the beginning of the show, you know, the pre-show there, but yeah, you went on about something else. So, and I didn't want to bring it up then because you seem to be a little bit off key, but you're talking all about it now. You're answering all my questions now, so that's good. So what about Quantum Eraser's book then? What if he's using some of your material there then? So you've got Quantum Eraser's book being written, I think. You've got Brian's Logic book being written, and then your book. So my word, 3 books coming out so soon.
Well, he claims he's been writing it since 2019. That's what I got in my message. Would you like to hear the message? I'll read it to you. Hold on.
Yeah, that would be nice to hear the message, yeah.
Okay. Neil, me and you, supposed to be you and I. You and I. Neil, me and you, but what are you going to do? The Irish, you know? Neil, me and you need to have a conversation in the next few days, as I am being accused of doing things that are not true. I also did not want you or anyone else telling people that I'm writing a book. I know that the info was out there. I don't know what he's saying. It actually reads, I know that the I-4 was out there, but I didn't want a live audience being told. I just didn't mind the panel knowing. And yes, I have been writing it since 2019. I am not a liar, and nor was I deceived. Boom. So I said, dude, it was on a show that I said it, and you said to me, don't worry about it. What the freak? That was 4 months ago. And Nathan stopped the recording and reprimanded me, saying, Brian, don't want that info out. I didn't know. I was shocked. And when I told you what happened, you said it was no big deal. And now it's a big deal? Shaking my head. You have my number, just not today. Worry about AI Overlord taking a victory lap on that entire incident with you and him and Adam, because now he is bringing justification by other than trying to shit all over pitch data, not raw data. Worry about that. And then he answered me back and says, I'll talk with you over the next few days. And that is one of the things I wanted to talk about. AI Overlord, is he referring to Spurrier's document from 3 months ago, as the ballers came with that same rubbish back then, and they didn't know what they were talking about, neither does he. Where is the source of this information? And that's it.
Yeah, thanks for that, Neil. Yeah. Fills the gap in there a little bit, yeah.
Right, I'm going to kick the kids out and do a roundup. With that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and Cheapest Panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, joining as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.